Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. The baby who was stolen from the Victoria Jubilee Hospital last month is now being reunited with his parents. The baby was placed in state care after he was found earlier this week in the care of a woman who went to the Register General's Department, RGD, in St. Catherine. It was reported that the woman was attempting to register the child as her own. Now, our reporter Anthony Lugg is at the Denhamtown police station and now joins us live via phone. Anthony, what can you tell us? What's happening now?
Thanks, Herman. So baby Serbian Hutton was just handed over to the parents. Herman, the Denhamtown police station is filled with emotions right now. The parents are just basking in the moment with their child that was stolen from the Victoria Jubilee Hospital on January 8th. Oh, Herman, it's just filled with emotions here. The mother is crying. I'm looking at her right now. The father is extremely emotional. It's a very, very, very good moment here for the parents, Herman.
Okay.
I will be monitoring the situation and I will be speaking to the parents, so we will be providing updates in primetime news this evening.
Okay, thank you very much, Anthony. Our reporter Anthony Lugg there reporting from the Denhamtown police station. In the meantime, the accused woman is to face an identification parade. Crime Chief for the Kingston West Police, Inspector Philip Dodd, told our news center that a date has not been set as yet for the identification parade. The police are waiting on a convenient date for an attorney to represent the woman. If she is positively identified, she will be charged. In addition to his harsh criticisms of lack of serious action from successive governments on corruption, President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSO J Howard Mitchell, is also blasting the leaders for what he calls lack of action in trying to end poverty and crime. Run-down communities across the country keeping residents in squalor. A shameful situation by PSOJ President Howard Mitchell's assessment. But he says what is worse is that there is no willingness by leaders to make change. He pointed to an area called No Man's Land between Trenchtown and Maxfield Avenue in Kingston, which he believes should be developed to increase production.
When I was chairman of NHT, I attempted to start a development process for that area. I made the suggestion to my minister, who shall remain nameless, and I was asked if I had gone insane. Now you are telling me that a sovereign state that has the ability to face down Venezuela cannot marshal the resources to go into our underdeveloped inner city and provide housing, factories, workplaces, buildings, and 71 acres of prime land so that our people can get a living. I refuse to accept it.
He says despite the plans and talks being presented, there will be no improvement if the current approach to crime, corruption, and development continues. But again, he says both the public and private sectors are needed to make change.
My private sector colleagues are sometimes afraid to step outside of their profitable comfort zones of margin gathering distribution and their quasi-manufacturing and high-cost banking services, while technological change takes the rest of the world further and further away. My political leaders of both stripes have abandoned vision for the traditional power rat race. In this situation, the ordinary citizen cannot help but feel powerless and lost.
Mr. Mitchell was speaking at a Rotary Club meeting on Thursday. The search is still on for a missing taxi operator in Kingston. The driver's vehicle has been found, and so there's a glimmer of hope for his relatives and colleagues. TVJ's O'Shane Masters reports.
It's been over a week since Kenneth Duncan, also known as Paul or Twinny, a taxi operator in the Jonestown area of St. Andrew, has been seen. Information received by TVJ News is that he went to carry out his duties on Thursday, January 31, but did not return home. His apparent abduction has led to a number of protests by close family and friends since the start of this week. Friday morning, taxi operators again staged a protest in a bid to get information on their missing friend.
Anybody know him we're about, whether dead or alive, we need it for us to bring him back, because we need the body for bury, and in my guts, we know him not dead.
We need closure. because we cannot work knowing that we don't know where our brother is.
Mr. Duncan's daughter, Paulisha Duncan, says the abduction of her father has shaken the entire community.
We don't need no violence. My father is not violent. My father don't do nothing to deserve this. Everybody shot at, everybody shaking about this.
In the meantime, a crowd gathered at the Admiral Town Police Station Thursday afternoon as this white Nissan Tida motor car, which belonged to Mr. Duncan, was reportedly found in a section of Augustown known as Dallas Castle. A reward is now being offered for any information which could lead to finding Mr. Duncan or the retrieval of his body if he's dead.
You see the need and the urge for my father to come home. We are giving 2,000 US. It climb 2,000 US for anybody who can bring my father forth. Please, we need him.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The level of corruption in the country is hampering the rate of growth which could be realized in the economy. That's according to President of the People's National Party, Dr. Peter Phillips. Speaking at the Manchester Chamber of Commerce monthly meeting last evening, Dr. Phillips pointed out that the level of corruption which has been uncovered at the state-owned oil refinery is a major deterrent to persons who want to invest in the country. He says despite the island's recent credit upgrade to a B+ by ratings agency Fitch, if the issue of corruption isn't addressed, the country's economic situation may continue with only minor growth.
Any country that becomes known to be a haven for illicit funds or corrupt conduct will find that the name brand investors of the world in the high-tech sectors and other areas that would lift our economy will stay away.
Dr. Phillips says in order to repair Jamaica's corrupt reputation, civil society needs to step up and set standards for the ruling government. Dr. Phillips noted that the running of the country cannot be left only to the House of Representatives.
Nation building requires the mobilization of the nation as a whole. The country is too important to all of us for us to leave it simply to the 60+ people in Parliament to run the affairs while you keep silent.
There's a call this afternoon for owners and managers of companies to take stock of what is happening with their employees. It comes as concerns have been raised about the high staff turnover rate in organizations due to what is termed the tardiness of employees. However, speaking at a recent Human Resource Management Authority forum, President of the Lancaster Coaching Institute, Dr. Nathan Charles, says before an employee is fired, there needs to be open and frank discussions. He further noted that some rules which are held dear by some organizations need adjustment.
We have this rigid, personal, professional, the two shall never meet. Right? And I agree with you in certain areas. But sometimes you have to know the people you're working with. Are your management team posing a threat to your employees' well-being? Now think about it. There are people who are already coming in who are susceptible, and all they need is a trigger, and there are people who are there, not yet affected, who can be affected by what you do.
Head of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Wayne Cameron, is reporting a reduction in all major crimes in the parish so far this year, well, with the exception of murder. Addressing a Chamber of Commerce meeting on Thursday, he noted that migrating criminals continue to push up murders in Manchester, but he says the police are taking a tough stance to address the matter, particularly in Porus. TVJ's Krista Campbell has the details.
The once quiet community of Porus, now an area of concern for police in Manchester because of rising crime stemming from gang-related activities. Manchester Police Chief Superintendent Wayne Cameron says half of the 6 murders committed across the parish so far this year happened in Porus. He's again urging residents to help the police catch Orain Anderson, alias Babylon, who is believed to be behind some of the murders. But he stressed that migrating criminals continue to negatively impact murder figures because they deem Manchester residents to be easier targets.
A lot of police work is taking place in Clarendon, supported by the military, and there's displacement taking there. And so they are finding their way across here. The last part of this is that there are residents here who are putting up these people when they come across. And I'm going to appeal to law-abiding people. When you make these observations, please let us know, because we need to know which communities they are going into and the people who are harboring them there.
And he says the police will also be paying closer attention to the town of Spalding, where he notes public disorder has been an increasing challenge, particularly among public transport operators. As for Tuesday's incident in which a coaster bus driver was shot and injured and a police service vehicle damaged following an altercation with police,
charges will be laid as soon as this driver is healed enough. He will be charged for assaulting the policeman. He'll be charged for other things because he actually held onto the policeman's firearm. And those persons who have damaged the service vehicle, they will be charged too. And we are looking at the route of even suing these people, taking civil action against them for damaging the government's motor car.
On a more positive note, Superintendent Cameron says the police have been successful in reducing rapes and break-ins, which have been major issues in the parish for some time. 7 less rapes reported between 2017 and 2018, taking the figure from 28 to 21. Superintendent Cameron says a major factor has been the arrest of 2 suspected serial rapists, Damar Scott and Daniel Hyatt.
That should help this category this year. Because if we can get serial rapers out of the way, then the other incidents of rape would be very random. And so we expect that figure to go down as well. We had 195 break-ins last year, the lowest figure in about 6 years. And for the first time, we have less than 200 break-ins in Manchester.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
A donation of hydro panels was made to the pediatric unit of the University Hospital of the West Indies earlier this week. The donation was made by Zero Mass Water, a company in Scottsdale, Arizona in the United States that develops equipment that uses solar energy to produce potable water. With this being the biggest installation in the Caribbean and the first in Jamaica, Executive Vice President of Zero Mass, Bob Babtrop, said this new equipment will be a start in the reduction of plastic bottles being used in the facility.
I believe the pediatrics unit having 20 source hydro panels. So you've got 20 panels that are not connected to anything. They're completely off-grid, producing high-quality, clean drinking water all day, every day. And with nothing else but the sun. So you're converting sunlight and air into high-quality drinking water.
Director of Nursing at the UHWI, Marva Forbes, says she is elated that the hospital has received this donation as it will reduce their water bill.
We'll have a real cutting cost of water because the hospital pays a lot of water bill, both for baths, for drinking, for medication. So with this, we'll have the amount of water that comes into this system. The Water Commission won't have to get any of our money into their coffers. We'll be able to cut the cost here. Each water probably use about 3,000 liters of water per day, and that is enough to sustain the patients that we have on each unit. So we are again grateful for the cost-cutting, recycling efforts that have been made by the government.
We're going on to news in sports. Days before Table Tennis Jamaica's annual general meeting, there is growing concern that a protest may be on the cards after several clubs and affiliates sought to have the AGM postponed. Renardo Brown has been tracking the developments.
Ever since a special meeting was called on January 28 to vote on a new constitution, Table Tennis Jamaica President Godfrey Lothian has been under fire. This time, there are mounting calls to postpone this Saturday's annual general meeting over what clubs and affiliates are calling serious concerns. But Lothian is standing firm.
We have not taken a decision to postpone the annual general meeting because this is 9 clubs out of 104 clubs. So that is a drop in the bucket.
At the center of the issue is the number of clubs and affiliates that were on the books of the association. That number grew from 36 on January 21 when TVJ Sports obtained a copy to 105 on January 28 at the special meeting. So we raised the question of whether all clubs were properly registered based on Section 7, subsection A of the then Constitution, which speaks about clubs and affiliates submitting a constitution, since failure to do so will render the application ineligible for consideration.
Only 4 clubs has submit any constitution. 4 clubs. And we have never, while we asked for the constitution, we have never pressured any club in the past. As it relates to the forms, the forms are there. You know, it can be scrutinized with contact number and address.
TVJ Sports pressed to view those forms for verification, but the answer was a soft but stern no. But the absence of a club constitution is not the only thing overlooked. Section 13, subsection D of the then Constitution says, any parish association or club wishing to exercise its votes at an annual general meeting or special meeting shall give written notice of its desire to do so, not later than 7 days before the date of the general meeting, and at the same time give names of its representatives. However, this audio taken from the night of the special meeting suggests something different.
Peter, that's not the point. You were supposed to put in your application for delegates. You came here and just told who you're bringing in.
No ID was checked.
No ID was checked. As a matter of fact, them ask you, who are you? And you just said they're daily, and you walk in. So if I could have texted my friend right to son, so go in and say maybe still, I'm going to vote for me.
That apart, one parish association president who wants to remain anonymous has concerns even about the trading name of the association.
For me, is the fact that Table Tennis Jamaica, vis-a-vis Jamaica Table Tennis, is not a legally registered company. It cannot and should not operate without following the rules and guidelines of the Jamaican laws.
I don't lead a Jamaica Table Tennis Federation. I have led Jamaica Table Tennis Association, and it has never been registered, so to speak. We have a difficulty registering the organization because of these said reasons.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the News Sports and Production teams, good afternoon.